Today, we're going to talk about 4 specific ways to market your business to improve local discovery. What is local discovery? Well, it's a trend you should be looking at in just the world of online marketing. But basically, it's when customers find local businesses online. They can do that through reviews, through online profiles, through SEO, through social networks, or the combination thereof, which is what we're going to talk about today, are some specific tactics across those different channels to improve your ability to attract business through local discovery. Buyers, sellers, I want them to find you when they go looking for a realtor near them. I want them to find your team when they're looking across social for the best agent in their local marketplace. I want you to win when it comes to local discovery. Welcome to This Week in Marketing. My name is Jason Pantana. I'm your host and instructor, and I am so glad you're with us today for this, what I think is a super important topic. If you're new to the channel, A, welcome. We're so happy you're here. And B, we would ask you, would you please consider subscribing? Just hit that big red subscribe button. And while you're there, there's a little bell icon right next to it. Tap that too, and it will notify you whenever we publish new videos just like this one here. Now, on with the show. Let's talk about 4 specific marketing tactics to increase your business's local discoverability. Now, our first marketing tactic for improving local discovery of your business is, no surprise, your Google Business Profile. Google Business Profiles are like the center of all things local discovery for any kind of a local business. It's like your best friend. Get this. There's about 8.5 billion Google searches that go down worldwide every single day. And of those 8.5 billion searches, about 46% are conducted with local intent. That means almost 1 out of every 2 searches on Google is somebody looking for something local. And here's the real kicker. That's about 4 billion searches, give or take, every single day looking for something local. And of those, 93% trigger what's called Google's Map Pack, which means they actually triggered a Google Business Profile, which means they were looking for a business. And so my point to you is the opportunity in terms of winning on search volume of buyers, sellers, and customers in your marketplace who are looking for a local business like you is just insane. Your Google Business Profile is an absolute central item, a flagship when it comes to local discovery. And if you're not really optimizing your business profile, you're missing a critical opportunity in your business. Now, this video is not about Google Business per se. That's just one aspect of what we're talking about, which what we're talking about is how do you improve your local discoverability as a business? And your Google Business Profile is definitely at the heart of that, at the core of that, because that's where Google just reigns supreme. So what does that mean? Well, that means a couple of things. One, you need to really take your time to fill out your profile properly. If you don't have a Google Business Profile, just start by going to business.google.com, fill out your business profile completely, and then once you're done, you can submit for verification, which is a really important step in ranking your profile higher in the search results. Now, in terms of what you can do to continually help your profile rank more readily in different local intent searches for buyers and sellers who are looking for an agent like you, there's a combination of things you can do. You can continue getting more reviews. Every time customers review your business, A, you're showing Google that you're the trusted authority, but B, they're also feeding keywords in their reviews to Google that gives Google greater context about when it should rank your profile. So A, keep getting reviews. B, add photos and videos and posts. If there's anything you can do on Google, like you can continue giving them more content, I implore you, give them more content, because the more you feed the machine, the more it can do for you. So keep uploading photos, keep uploading videos, keep putting out Google posts, keep giving them content. And then last, just make sure you fill out your profile completely. The more information you give to Google about your business and when it's relevant and what it does and its services and its job categories and all those types of details, the more opportunity Google has then to rank your profile. You've got to work your business profile like crazy because it's a major asset in terms of local discovery from buyers and sellers in your marketplace. Now, the second way to better position your business for local discovery, I'm going to invite you to sit down and kind of brace yourself for this one because you may not like what I have to say. But the second channel I would be looking at is Yelp. I know that when I say the word Yelp, historically people have a strong reaction to Yelp because of the reviews or whatever the experience might have been. And I don't mean to presume, I'm kind of presuming right now, maybe you have no issues with Yelp. But the reality is, even if you do or don't, Yelp is such an uncontested player in the space of local discovery for local businesses that there's really no way around it other than to make it your friend. Because reality is, if I Google the name of your business, or if you Google the name of really any local business anywhere, assuming it has a Yelp profile, which it may or may not, but it probably does, even if they didn't make it themselves, that profile is going to rank on the first page of Google because the SEO on Yelp itself is just off the charts crazy good. And so there's really no way to bypass or circumvent Yelp. It's going to be a variable in the equation for local discovery. And it also has some silver lining to it. Get this, Yelp feeds its data to Siri, and by extension, Apple Maps, and also Alexa. So if somebody does like a Siri search or an Alexa search for the best realtor near them or whatever, all that data is coming from Yelp. And so if you can really dial in and optimize your Yelp presence, whereby you would rank on those types of voice activated searches, which again, voice search is no doubt a growing trend that is taking up a lot of search volume. It's not just like I type in the words on my browser types of searches anymore. Voice search is a major thing. And if you can dial in your Yelp presence, then you could potentially win a lot of business in those types of searches. Now, we said that Yelp feeds Apple Maps. I want to talk more about Apple Maps, but through the lens of Instagram for just a moment, because right now Instagram, in an effort to compete with Snapchat, is really trying to bolster up and improve its local business discovery tools. Snapchat's been putting out some pretty groundbreaking features in terms of helping their users find local places, local businesses. Well, Instagram is trying to do the same thing, and it's kind of still primitive, but it's something worth looking at because even social networks like Instagram are trying to get into the local business discovery game. My point to you is, consumers are ever more reliant upon their phones and their computers to go find local businesses. And if you're not positioning yourself to win on those types of searches, on that type of behavior, you're going to miss a huge chunk of business. Now, in Instagram, if you do a search for realtors or whatever, just any kind of a search in the explore page section, the search section of Instagram, it will kind of divide your search into major categories or headings. It will have like top, accounts, tags, and then it will also have a section called places. And places are actually geotagged locations on a map. And if you open it up, it actually plots all the pins on a map. That map is powered by Apple Maps. Therefore, by extension, it's fed by Yelp. And if you have a Yelp listing, your business can actually show up as a nearby proximate place on a map whereby users on Instagram can discover your business. So my point to you is Yelp. Now, I'm also talking about Instagram and the greater trend at work here, which is local discovery, but you really ought to be looking at your Yelp profile because it doesn't just get you business on Yelp. It's all the things Yelp feeds. They're a massive data provider for a lot of different tools out there that are in the local discovery business game. So get after it. Now, the third way to improve the way your business gets discovered online is through content tagging across social networks. In particular, I want to talk about Instagram and YouTube for a second. When you publish content on Instagram, it could be a story, it could be a reel, it could just be an image or a photo or whatever. Any content you publish on Instagram, I implore you to tag your location. There is an option to tag your location. Not in the caption, there's a standalone dedicated tool to tag your location. In a story, you can add a sticker whereby you tag your location. My point to you is tag your location. Now, the question is why? Well, there's a couple of reasons for it. Let's talk about the algorithm first. Algorithmically, Instagram is always trying to understand what its users want to see more of and which pages to suggest to keep people on the platform longer and give them a better experience on Instagram. And so if you are A, making content that's local, but B, you're tagging it with the location tag that says it's local, Instagram then infers, oh, this page, i.e. your page, makes content for people who have an interest in this specific area. So for instance, if you're in Houston, you could be tagging Houston, Texas, Greater Houston, downtown Houston, specific neighborhoods in Houston, whatever, just kind of mix it up a little bit and create a web of saying to Instagram, hey, anybody in the general vicinity of Houston, they're my people, this is where I do business, and therefore I'm relevant to them. And go back to the last section I talked about. We know that Instagram is really trying to improve their local discovery tools because A, they're trying to compete with Snapchat, but B, because they want to give their users a better experience. So my point to you is tag your location in everything you publish because it's going to help you get suggested more. And I should also add that the CEO of Instagram, Adam Missouri, he's made recent comments that there's going to be more suggested content in your main feed. Now, up until now, there's been some suggested content in the main feed, but mostly it's the people you follow and stuff like that. They're going to start kind of dialing it up more like TikTok, where you should expect to see more suggested, recommended content in your actual feed, which has been the case in the Reels feed since the very beginning of the Reels feed. But now we're going to start seeing that in more of the feeds overall. So I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but here's the thinking I've got. if you're tagging your location, and we understand that proximity and location and local discovery is a major trend and a theme of Instagram, and we also know that Instagram's going to start suggesting more content, wouldn't it be prudent if they understood that you make content for people in this general area because Instagram is paying attention to that? I think it would be. My point to you is make sure that you're adding a location tag on everything you publish on Instagram because it only helps you get seen and discovered and build influence in your local marketplace. Now, the same goes for YouTube, not quite to the same level as with Instagram, but when you upload videos to YouTube, are you aware that you have the ability to tag your location? There's actually like a location tag, not in the description. There's an actual tag your location, which again is helping YouTube understand where you are, the area for which you make business. Remember that YouTube is owned by Google, and Google, we know that almost half of every search is local. So again, YouTube is thinking along the same lines. They are a search engine more than a social network, and therefore they have it incumbent on them to understand what do their users want to see, why do they want to see it, and all that kind of stuff. I could go layers and layers on this in terms of understanding why it matters to YouTube. I'm just simply saying, if you want to get discovered by more customers locally, tag your location on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook, on all the major platforms. Tag your location because that location tag gives information to these platforms about where you do business, for whom you do business, what are the interests of people, who would be the right avatar of people who want to work with you. It only serves your purpose in terms of being found by more customers online by tagging your location. Now, our fourth way to enhance your marketing in a way that kind of improves local discoverability online is through your website. Now, there's a lot that could be said about SEO and your website. I'm going to go through a handful of best practices that you can put into place to really improve your discoverability on a local level through your website. And by the way, all these things are going to also, by extension, reinforce your Google Business Profile because remember, your website is connected to it. So 2 thumbs up. Now, for starters, I'm going to recommend that you geotag each and every image on your entire website. Header images, blog images, pictures of you and your team members, every image on your entire website geotagged. You can use a tool like geoimager.com to do so, geoimgr.com. Now, before I go much further, let's talk about why this matters. It matters because the second most popular search engine on the planet is Google Images. Google search is number 1, Google Images is number 2, and then it goes to YouTube, all of which are owned by Google. You get the point. But it's Google Images. When you do a search on Google Images, it pulls the photos, it aggregates that data from websites here, there, and everywhere, which could be your website, which means you stand a chance of ranking on those types of search results. So geotag your images as if to say you're in Houston, Texas, or Milwaukee, or Albuquerque, or wherever you are doing business. Just tag the location of your photos as saying so. Now, let me also address what is geotagging. Well, you know how when you take a photo on your iPhone, for instance, you can actually see on a map where that photo was taken. Well, that's a geotag. However, when you share that photo from your phone or whatever, typically speaking from a privacy standpoint, a lot of that data gets stripped off of it just to protect privacy. Well, using a tool like GeoImager, you can reapply that data. You can make it say whatever you want. You could say you were in Alaska, even if you were in Virginia. You can do whatever you want. My advice is geotag every image to help bolster up your local SEO from a Google Images standpoint. Next, when it comes to your website, you gotta go keywords crazy. What are keywords? Keywords are just the words all over your website, in headings, in blogs, in titles, just the text all over your website that Google is constantly scanning and trying to understand and infer, okay, this website makes content like this, that's relevant for people like that, so that when they type in their random Google searches, Google can look at its index of all the websites and all the information on those websites and decide, oh, this page is relevant for those types of searches. So the question is, what keywords do you want to rank on? And I'm going to submit to you, there's 3 major categories of keywords when it comes to your local business. I'm specifically looking at this through the lens of a local business. And I'm going to call those 3 categories your nouns, your verbs, and your adjectives. So let's go back to grade school. What's a noun? A noun is a person, place, or thing. Okay, so that means it's the name of your business, it's where you do business, and it's the type of business you do. Realtor, listing agent, real estate agent, and so forth. Those are keywords you need to own in the noun category. What about verbs? Buy, sell, lease, invest, list. The things that describe what you do for people, those should be the verbs that you just kind of dominate from a keyword standpoint on your website. I just want you thinking about this stuff. Okay, when I'm writing a blog, when I'm publishing a page, or if it's my admin doing it for me, are we thinking about the keywords that we want to reinforce across our website so we can rank better for local intent searches? Remember, this is all about local discovery. There are other keywords like beyond this, but I'm talking about when people search best realtor near me, that kind of a thing. So we have nouns, we have verbs, and then last we've got our adjectives and adverbs, which if you remember back in grade school, adjectives and adverbs describe the nouns and or the verbs. Adverbs describe verbs, adjectives describe nouns. Hopefully you remember all that stuff from school. Okay, so what kind of adjectives matter for us? Okay, words like best, top, number one. What are words that can reinforce what people are actually searching for contextually when they say best realtor near me, best realtor Nashville, Tennessee? There's a massive opportunity. Best is the adjective. Realtor is a noun. Nashville, Tennessee is a noun, right? Nouns, verbs, and adjectives and adverbs, if we're going to be grammatically correct about this, you need to go crazy on your keywords across your website. So what I would do is make a list of all the different keywords that you think are relevant from a local business discovery standpoint, and then just kind of do an audit on your website. Have we properly dialed in from an SEO standpoint that all those words are being hit appropriately? Are we training ourselves to use those words when we blog and when we publish new content to enhance our ability to rank locally? Next up, this is one I've talked about before. When you're publishing content on social media, you should repurpose all that content as a blog on your website. You should blog more often. You should take the video on YouTube and embed the video in the blog post. You should take its caption and make the caption the blog post. My point to you is you should blog like crazy, and I would argue repurposing your social media content is a way to do that without really causing a whole lot of headache. It's just another distribution channel. You should blog your social media content. You can create like neighborhood specific, what are called hub pages, kind of the compendium, the all things resource for this neighborhood or that neighborhood. Think of them as a landing page or a hub page where you just kind of concentrate information that is relevant to a specific neighborhood or area of town. You have standalone pages on your website that are just continually adding content relevant to those areas. That's going to massively improve the local discoverability of your website. Local business discovery is a trend that you cannot nor should you deny. It's an opportunity just right under your noses, because as we continue to put more and more reliance on the web and the Internet of Things and all that kind of stuff, we will continue to see buyers and sellers who find an agent, who find a team, who find the opportunity they're looking for online through social profiles, through search engine optimization, through all the things we talked about and more. I just want to see you start taking the steps now, today, to dial in your local discovery and generate more business. If this video helped, I would love it if you could give it a big thumbs up on YouTube. And also, we'd love to hear from you. What are your questions? What are your ideas? What other areas should we all be looking at in terms of positioning for greater local discovery of customers online? Thanks so much for watching. Until next week, this is This Week in Marketing.